Welcome everyone to a new episode of the Insilico Terminal podcast. As you can see, I am now on cam as your host for your enjoyment. Um, we are recording this not for the first time because we had some technical difficulties behind us, hopefully. But this is the final charm. It will work. We're all relaxed and happy and looking forward to the conversation. And I have with me today a new guest. His name is Ponzi Maxi, and he will now introduce himself to the audience for the final time because this will be the final record.
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Ponzi and I'm a trader. I work at Spartan Group in the liquid fund, but before that, I was trading for myself starting in early 2019 and then moving into more active trading in 2021. And then, yeah, I just recently joined Spartan a couple of months ago. So yeah, but I've been in crypto for about 6 years.
hmm I think we missed out on a bunch of jokes here that we had in the earlier
Yeah,
versions,
it's
but I
such a
feel like it's
shame.
it's 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 cringe to just retell them now. It doesn't hit the
Yeah,
same if you
it's
just do it
fine.
again.
It's fine.
So we're just getting into the serious content immediately. You got started with trading in 2021. What was that like for you? Like, did you just start trading perps? What was your strategy like? How long did it take you to be profitable?
Yeah, so I I did start in 2021, but I kind of dabbled a little bit with trading here and there before that.
hmm
So I first got into crypto just buying spot Bitcoin, and I did everything right. Like I used Coinbase Pro to minimize the fees, and then I
hmm
withdrew it to a hardware wallet. Like,
Oh
you know,
wow,
I was a good crypto participant.
yeah.
Um, I also did stupid shit. I remember for my birthday, I got £60 and
hmm
immediately loaded it onto BitMEX, 100x
hmm
leverage long on Bitcoin. And in like less than a minute, it was all gone. And I was just like, pit of my stomach, what have I done? I couldn't believe it. um,
That's kind of cute.
so yeah. So another another similar scenario was when I was withdrawing that spot Bitcoin from Coinbase to my
hmm
hardware wallet. Um, I basically did it and I didn't realize Bitcoin wasn't instant. So
Yeah,
I refreshed and it wasn't there. And I was like, holy shit. It was gone from the exchange. So I was like, holy shit, where has it
yeah.
gone?
Oh
And then
no.
when I refreshed the software, the deposit address had rotated, and
hmm
I didn't realize like it's still fine, it will still work, but the deposit
Yeah.
address had rotated. So I thought I'd sent this £200 off into the ether, and I genuinely had a complete pit in my stomach
Oh my god.
until it finally arrived about an hour later.
Yeah.
But anyway, sorry for the ramble. So yeah, I mostly held spot between
hmm
2019 and 2021, but I dabbled a little bit here and there with
hmm
like perps on BitMEX. Obviously, lost my money there because I didn't know what I was doing.
hmm
Um, I did a little bit of altcoin stuff. So coins like I think Aave, Sushi. Um, it was like I think it was DeFi coins, but it was post like DeFi summer.
hmm
I don't think I was around for. I didn't get the uni airdrop or anything like that. I wasn't active on chain
Yeah.
at that point. Um, but yeah, my trading has evolved quite a lot since I started because at the end of the day, I'm just trying to make money, which means doing whatever making money the easiest way that I think is possible trading
hmm
at that time. Um, so yeah, depending on what the market conditions are like, the way that I trade changes.
which makes sense. But what did you trade like back then, or what were some of the stages that you have went through during the years? What were the things that made you money?
Sure. Okay. So the major things that made me money were, first of all, the spot Bitcoin trade, because that
Hmm.
was pretty much like 10x plus, because I bought pretty early in 2019, between like 4 to 8K, and then ended
Oh,
up
nice.
selling it 40, 50, 60. So
Yeah.
prior to that, I mean, like, I just didn't even really have enough money to trade.
Hmm.
Then in 2021, I had more, still not a lot, but enough to kind of make a lot of money for someone who's not used to making a lot of money.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, sorry, I forgot the question.
I think the various ways that you made money throughout the years, because you said that's like your trading
Oh,
strategy or how
sorry,
it has
sorry,
evolved.
sorry. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So the major way actively trading that I made money previously was on chain. So because I would bridge to chains early, I would like try out all of the projects on there to try and
Hmm.
figure out what the best one was. So, for example, Rollbit on Solana, I was
Hmm.
very early to Rollbit, because, yeah, I bridged over before, like when Jupiter was a new project on Solana,
Hmm.
and I allocated quite heavy to it, and basically front ran the Ethereum migration, and also like when a bunch of people started chilling it on Twitter, like Hasaka and stuff like that. So I
Hmm.
managed to get in really early, and then I sold the Pico top.
Oh, nice.
So that was a great trade. The other good trade, although um, leaves me with a lot of PTSD, was Trader Joe on Avalanche.
Hmm.
It was a similar story where I bridged early to the chain, and I was like testing out the projects to see which one I thought was the best thing to buy.
Yeah.
Originally, I made the wrong choice. So originally, I kind of spread my bets into Pangolin, Yield Yak, and Trader Joe.
Hmm.
But then I remember, because I wasn't sure what the best one was, I just knew that I wanted exposure to it.
Yeah.
Um, and then I remember I saw a Hasaka tweet, and an Icebergy tweet, which was basically like hinting at Trader Joe.
Hmm.
Um, and at that point in time, I was allocated to all three, but my thought process as a trader had developed to the point where I was above my own ego, and I was like,
Hmm.
okay, if I just think about this rationally, there's someone with like hundreds of thousands of followers who has only just started hinting about this project that I know about. So then I just not full ported, but I sold Pangolin, I sold Yield Jack, and I went all in on Trader Joe. And then
Hmm.
that ended up like 5xing plus. The issue then was that the numbers got too big for me, and I wasn't used to
Hmm.
it having a portfolio that was like that big. I made too
Yeah.
much too quickly, and then I got emotional with it, and it was too volatile.
Hmm.
So I ended up basically like it started ranging for a couple of days, and I was
Hmm.
selling the lows, buying back the highs a couple of times, and then
Yeah.
I um, realized what I was doing, but then made the fatal mistake of then my decision after that was, okay, I'm over trading. I know what I need to do. I just need to buy and hold it now. And
Hmm.
so I like bought back in, held it, and I kid you not, from that point onwards, it was just down only for about a week straight,
Yeah.
and I ended up round tripping all of the gains that I'd made. Like
Uh,
I'd like 5x my entire portfolio.
yeah.
I was euphoric, round tripped the entire thing, and like, yeah, I just remember coming home one day from the gym, and I
Hmm.
put a pizza in the oven, like waited for it to cook, took it upstairs,
Yeah.
looked at the charts, and like finally it clicked for me what had happened and what I had done, and I
Mm-hmm.
just got that sick sinking feeling in my stomach,
Oh god.
and I couldn't even eat my pizza. I didn't eat anything.
Mm,
I went to bed, and I didn't touch crypto for a little while after that.
yeah.
Um, that was like that's been the most devastating trade I've ever had, and it's kind of
Yeah.
informed a lot about the way that I trade now.
Mm-hmm.
But um, yeah, so one of my best trades was also one of my worst trades.
Mm-hmm.
Another good trade that I made was Hyperliquid. So I got a decent Hyperliquid airdrop. It wasn't anything crazy. I really
Mm-hmm.
wish that I'd farmed it more, and now that I know how amazing it was.
As does everyone.
Yeah, but the thing is, I made an active choice not to farm Hyperliquid
Mm-hmm.
because at the time the meta was points programs, and I'm like very used to airdrop farming. I've farmed a lot of
Yeah.
different projects in different ways,
Mm-hmm.
but the reason why I didn't farm Hyperliquid was because it had a very visible points program, and my whole kind of thesis with airdrop farming is that you're trying to get an asymmetric payoff with as
Mm-hmm.
little capital as possible. And so the thought process was in a meta where like every single project under the sun is doing a points program, at
Mm-hmm.
that point when it's all visible and like participants can then calculate expected valuations and allocations towards the airdrop, you can end up calculating a like percentage yield if you know how long the program is going to last. And then at
Mm-hmm.
that point you're not airdrop farming, you're just yield farming. And
Yeah.
like unless you have a
With extra
shit ton of
stats.
money, it doesn't make any sense. So I
Mm-hmm.
specifically like did not farm Hyperliquid because I thought it wouldn't give the asymmetric payoff.
Yeah.
However, what I did realize once it had launched, um, I realized that I'd kind of like made a mistake. I saw the
Mm-hmm.
price action and I saw them buying back a shit ton with the assistance fund. And so then once it had launched, I ended up buying pretty heavy
Mm-hmm.
around like $8, $9, $10, and then held that and sold it at 31 with about 60% of the stack.
Yeah.
Um, I didn't trade Hyperliquid that great. I ended up um, like buying back some of it in the 20s and then holding it down to the tens. I ended up
Mm-hmm.
buying quite a lot at 10, but then when that was happening, it was the Trump tariff stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And macro tariff stuff is one of those areas where I kind of accept that I don't know enough to form a judgment on it. And
Yeah.
so then I was like, okay, I need to like not, I just need to protect myself. So I ended up selling back 2/3 of what I bought at the bottom. So I
Yeah.
did increase exposure, but not in a great way. And then obviously I've held the rest up until where it's at now, where I started
Mm-hmm.
taking some off. So yeah,
I remember. I think Friendtech was the first thing that like introduced points programs. I
was
don't
it
even know
Frentech?
when
Yeah,
it
it
was.
might have
I
been.
feel like Friendtech made it like a thing when they distributed them every Friday. And I think back then I was also like skeptical during like early Hyperliquid days of where it would go or how much it would be worth to actually farm that, because it was like a good protocol, but like it wasn't as developed as it is now, and like DEX trading wasn't as great as the sex experience.
Yeah,
So I also made the mistake of under farming it.
yeah. I think Frentech, like as a points program, died the moment it became possible to self farm just by buying your own tokens and
Hmm.
um, because that just defeats the whole point of it. But they, as far as I remember, they didn't penalize that as heavily as they should have because
Hmm.
at the end of the day they don't care because they're still getting their
Yeah.
5% fees or whatever it is. So yeah, I didn't really farm Frentech either. I still got a decent airdrop, but yeah, I didn't really farm it.
Hmm. I mean, I guess yeah, they didn't really care because it was basically like a rock, more or less. I mean, the person that did it kind of like disappeared afterwards and made a bunch of money. But I also
Yeah,
got my airdrop, so I'm keeping quiet. We close both eyes and don't speak about it anymore. I guess nowadays you mostly trade perps, if I'm right, or like in the last
Yes.
couple of years.
So yeah, as far as like actively trading goes, yes, I mostly trade perps. I don't really do on-chain alts anymore.
Hmm.
Um, I
Why is that?
would I don't it's not the same, it's not the same environment that it was a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Like, a couple of years ago a new chain would launch and you could go onto it, see what the new projects were, and like stuff would be undervalued. But
Hmm.
now I think everything is everything is already venture funded. And so by that point, then, like by the time that the tokens go live, their valuation's already too high.
Hmm.
So like when I bought Trader Joe, I think it was at like 30 million market cap, and
Hmm.
went up to whatever it went up to. I can't remember. Um, Amid like a speculative fever with Avalanche Rush and just in general, a lot of speculative capital willing to bid shit on chain
Hmm.
in 2021. It's just not the same environment anymore. So
Yeah.
it doesn't offer the same alpha. I actually, as far as like where I make most of my money now, less of it is from perps and more of it is having heavy spot allocations
Hmm.
when I want to be risk on, and then being like almost completely risk off when I don't want any risk. So like
I see.
really trying to catch like big swing trades.
Hmm.
At Spartan, we do like long short discretionary trading, and that is more um, that's on a shorter time frame. So that's like short to medium time frame, whether it's a couple of weeks or a couple of months. But
Hmm.
for me, especially more recently, I've been more focused on macro moves with spot because I mean, if you look at Bitcoin, it's like been range bound for months, and so
Hmm.
it is there much alpha in holding your entire net worth in it if it's just ranging?
Hmm.
In my opinion, there's not. So I'm really just trying to be allocated when I think we're actually going to trend, and
Yeah.
then not allocated when we're not. And then I'm always, like we were talking about earlier, um, I think there's more and more alpha recently in private sales and public
Hmm.
sales because there's a big discrepancy between TGE valuations versus even public sale valuations, and you can capture a massive profit in such a short period of time from those.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, like TLDR, long answer cut short. I just try to trade however best I feel like the market
Hmm.
is rewarding at that time.
So you never really short in your own personal trading?
I I don't really I don't really like shorting. I
Hmm.
Most of the time I think your energy is better spent elsewhere. Um, like the problem in crypto, I think, with shorting is that the stuff that you kind of want to short, a lot of the time the supply is completely controlled anyway. So
Yeah.
that eliminates the point in shorting it because you're just going to get blown up.
Mm.
And then I don't really want to short crypto as an asset class because I think generally speaking, it continues to go up.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, that like there is stuff you can short, but I don't do it that much personally. No,
Hmm.
I just
I mean,
think
the return profile is also quite different since you can't
yeah,
like.
yeah, the return profile is different. Also, when it comes to perp, like I mean, if you're shorting, you have to do perps, right? And when
Mhm.
I'm perps trading, I pretty much I hate being in a losing position.
Yeah.
So my style when I'm trading perps is I will very happily cut a position if the moment that I enter, I'm not immediately in profit because most of the time when I'm like choosing my entries, I'm really trying to catch other people's liquidations to the point where I don't really consider the price that I got to be a fair price. And so if it is to then return to that price, it tells me, okay, this is clearly not that great of a price.
Yeah.
So like my favorite time to do that is during bullish conditions. You find out what the strongest coin is, like what's performing the best, and then you're just catching licks on that on the trend up. It's like my favorite perps trade to take. But even now, in when we're trending less, like I've been taking a couple of shorts recently on BNB, and if I'm not like almost
On BNB.
immediately in profit, I just cut.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why
I've been
BNB
shorting
specifically?
BNB. There's a couple of reasons. So it started off. So I'll explain the trade setup. The trade setup was that we had this massive flash crash across the market, and then BNB somehow bounced the strongest, and it actually broke new highs, which typically, in the way that I view markets, that would then be a signal. Okay, I need to keep an eye on BNB because
Yeah.
at some point I want to be long it. Right, it's showing the most strength. But then, on one hand, it felt fishy to me because of the massive flash crash that we'd seen and Binance's involvement in it. But specifically, then the real catalyst for the trade was the China Renaissance news coming out. China Renaissance Bank, they were talking about like a 600 million investment into BNB, but the token barely moved when
Yeah.
this news came out. And so that put the thought in my head, okay, maybe BNB's strength in the bounce was not actual strength. It was people front running this news and
Yeah.
basically insider trading it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the like main trigger for the short, with a stop above the highs of just like, okay, if it goes above here, I'm wrong. But short there. And then the trade, it was a great trade because it just materialized over time, never went above my entry. As more people understood Binance's involvement in the flash crash, they had like 20 billion in outflows, and yeah, was just so that was the kind of like trade setup itself from a mechanical standpoint and like a catalyst standpoint. Then the other part of it was like kind of ideological, because Binance is just like, I don't really know what's happened or happening to them, but they've just been doing some really like negative things, I think, for the market. Like the Binance Alpha meme coin pump and dumps, the I mean, what else? The Binance Alpha, the whole flash crash itself with their assets. I can't remember exactly which ones it is, but it's like Binance Sol, Binance ETH,
Yeah.
USDE, all of that. I just I'm not really a fan of the direction that they're going, and like CZ's activity on Twitter with regards to Hyperliquid, stuff like that. So like, I mean, the majority of the trade was like just a trader mindset, but uh, I I kept shorting it because I mean it kept giving great entries on the bounce, and at that point it was a little bit ideological. It was just, I
Yeah.
felt like I was getting one back, even though I wasn't even affected by the crash either, because I didn't have
Yeah.
any perps open, and the spot that I held at the time was just hype. I'd already sold all my Bitcoin, so like didn't even have much exposure to the market, didn't have any perps, but yeah, I just yeah.
But didn't you kind of break your own rule there, since it's like quite supply controlled,
It
I think?
Yes, I mean it is, but it's not. When I say yes, the supply is controlled by CZ, but he's not. it's not to the same level as some of these other
Yeah, I get what you
coins,
mean.
which I won't mention. Um, but
I was
it's
just being
just
a bit
like
cheeky, but
a
there is a difference
different,
here.
yeah, yeah. It feels like these other coins, they are specifically bundled with the idea of pump and dumping them, whereas Binance is
Mhm.
clearly not, or BNB is clearly not one of those coins.
Yeah.
So yeah, but you do make a good point. Like I, I've never shorted Tron, and I would never
Mhm.
short Tron. When Plasma was coming out, I I was very bullish on Plasma before it launched, and the kind
Mhm.
of natural other side of being bullish Plasma is being bearish on Tron because it's going
Mhm.
to cannibalize its market. But
Yeah.
the that's the difference between being like an analyst and being a trader is like do you actually want to short Tron when Justin Sun holds 70% of it or whatever? There's no point.
No, that makes sense. I want to talk a bit more about Spartan with you. If you
Sure.
could explain a bit what it is and what your role is there, what it's like to work there.
Sure. So Spartan Group is a hedge fund in crypto. There's multiple arms to it. So we have the liquid hedge fund, we have the venture fund, and we also have advisory. So I
Mhm.
work in the liquid fund. Um, we're a team of four analysts, including myself, and then we report up to Kelvin, who's the CIO.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, um, we're just discretionary long short. Um, yeah, everyone gets to trade whichever assets they want. It's fundamentals based, so we're tracking we're tracking metrics like um, fees, revenue, how much fees perhaps the underlying chain itself is making,
Mhm.
multiples compared to each other, um, unlocks, particularly when we look at short targets. Unlocks are probably the easiest um, like factor in a short trade, and then
Mhm.
also things like funding as well for shorts because obviously that can go wrong if you're on the wrong side of that.
Mhm. What are some of the biggest things that have like changed for you as a person that has only traded solo before to doing it with a team?
So I would say the number one thing is being more formalized on valuations, multiples, like being more professional when it comes to um, spreadsheets and
Mhm.
doing things more mathematically. When I was trading myself personally, my valuation framework was, I would say, mostly comparative based, where I would
Mhm.
have a kind of intuition about how much things should be worth and whether one project should be worth more than another project
Yeah.
compared to like in my mind which one is actually better.
Mhm.
Whereas now it's more formalized in the sense of knowing the actual exact activity metrics and being able to compare them objectively.
Mhm.
The other thing I would say is um, like pitching trades to other people rather than just myself. It was
Mhm.
actually probably one of the major reasons why I decided to join Spartan, because even though my trading has evolved quite a lot over the years, I really felt like I got bored of going over the same trades in my head like 100
Mhm.
times, trying to prove myself wrong. And I felt like the best way to combat that is to join a team of other smart people and traders
Mhm.
who, can have an actual conversation with you about it. It's very difficult to have that conversation with normal people because they don't
Yeah.
understand what trading is. So yeah, pitching ideas to other people And also, I think it makes you stricter in terms of which ideas you actually dedicate time to,
Mhm.
because you know that anything that you're going to pitch, you're really going to have to be able to defend to
Yeah.
scrutiny. Um, so yeah, I would say that is probably the biggest difference.
I guess it really discourages you from making more stupid decisions if you have to like go up to someone else and explain it to them, listen to their questions, their criticism, and then defend your idea against it.
Yeah, I don't think it's not a I mean, I think it's a trade-off, honestly. I think it's not a purely positive trade,
Hmm.
because not every trade has to be like necessarily backed by fundamentals.
Yeah.
Um, and so you kind of limit yourself there. I suppose in that case, it's then up to the discretion of like how much freedom you have within the
Hmm.
fund. I'm newly joined, so I would say I still need to like prove myself in that sense, in
Hmm.
terms of the ideas that I can bring forward. Um, but yeah, I think it's a trade off where you have less flexibility, less freedom, but it then improves your own level of due diligence that you conduct
Yeah.
on each trade.
What is it like to be with people in person while doing all of that? I don't think I've ever really like traded presently with other people around me physically.
Yeah, so I mean, the thing is that Spartan's not making like multiple trades per day per analyst. So it's not
Hmm.
like we're all in the office day trading. Um, but it is good to be in the office and have the people there. And I feel like crypto can be such a catalyst driven market where everything can just
Hmm.
flip on a dime if the right news comes out.
Yeah.
And it's in times like that where having everyone in the same room at the same time to like discuss and see what everyone thinks is like really invaluable.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, I think it just levels everyone up that's there.
Yeah, especially in crypto, since it can be quite lonely, I guess, if you're like just working from home or trading by yourself. And you
100%.
can talk to people on Telegram and Twitter, but it's not really the same thing as being with someone physically present and actually like living a bit with them, discussing your ideas and stuff like that.
100%. I wouldn't like, I'm not even the most social person. Like, I'm very
Hmm.
happy to be on my own and have my own space. But over the years, like, friends that I had within crypto have just dropped off over time,
Yeah.
which is obviously really sad. Because I think back to 2021 and, having a Discord full of like 10 people, all of your friends, all of you are making a shit ton of money, all of you are
Hmm.
having fun, sharing alpha. And then just over time, people drop off, lose interest, lose money, whatever
Hmm.
it is, and you don't have that anymore. So, especially, I think loneliness matters far more if you're losing. Like
Yeah.
if your trading's not going well and you're on your own, I think that's really tough.
Hmm.
Um, if you're winning, then it can actually be good to just block everyone out, keep doing what you're doing,
Hmm.
understand why you're winning, don't stop doing that until it stops working. Um, but yeah, one of the major reasons for joining Spartan was the social aspect as well, and
Hmm.
getting to meet more traders.
I'm curious, since you are quite young, did you ever work a normal job before? Since you got into crypto quite
So
early?
yeah, so when I was 16 or 17, I worked in a retail clothing store. So that
Hmm.
was like a normal job. And then after the second year of university, I did a placement year, which is like a proper job, but you just do it for one
Mm-hmm.
year. So I did a finance placement for a year at a like pharmaceutical multinational. So
Mm-hmm.
that was like a proper job as well. But my difficulty has always been when it comes to working or studying, especially, is I always want to spend time doing crypto and I never want to spend time
Mm-hmm.
doing that other stuff. Um, and so, like, when I was at this placement in the pharmaceutical company, like, I think it got me down that I knew that I wasn't performing great at the job, even though
Mm-hmm.
I don't give a shit about this multinational pharmaceutical company. The fact that
Mm-hmm.
I know that I'm not performing as well as I could, like that gets me down. But with crypto,
Yeah.
because I'm and trading, because I'm so obsessed with it and I love what I do, I work all day and
Yeah.
it's exactly what I want to do. And because I do that, my performance is good and I feel good about that.
Mm-hmm.
So to be honest, I don't think I could ever do anything besides trading.
Yeah. No, I really get that. I think there's like this saying, if you love your job, then you never work a day on your life or something like that. I probably just fucked it up, but it's like if you
No,
like what you're doing
100%.
and are like obsessed with it as you explained, then it doesn't really feel like work because you would do it anyway. And I've definitely felt the same about crypto when I look back at my time when I went studying at university or in previous jobs that I had, where I would basically just like sit there and then check the charts or Twitter all day anyway, and just like looked for an opportunity to get away from that to do what I really wanted to do, which is crypto, which I get to do now, which I'm very happy and grateful for. But I can definitely relate in that manner. I
Yeah,
want to circle back a bit, or say what you want to say.
I was just gonna say, when I was at uni, I 100% spent more time trading and doing crypto than I did actually studying. Um,
Yeah, me too.
and thankfully, thankfully I'd done well enough to the point where once I had actually graduated, it could make financial sense for me to just go into full-time trading rather than
Hmm.
having to like find some graduate job that I don't care about while I still like end up doing trading all the time anyway. That was
Yeah,
all I was going to say.
I wanted to ask if you have any, because we talked about points programs earlier. If you have any thoughts on Lighter, which is like the current biggest
Hmm.
points program, I guess, and has been quite hyped even after the nuke of like 1 or 2 weeks ago now. Um, the points are still very heavily traded OTC at a huge valuation, or like comparatively, relatively, whatever. Have you farmed that? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so it's another one that I wish I farmed, to be
Hmm.
honest. Um,
I get
I
it. I
think
get
I
it.
have, I think I have like 250 points or something.
Hmm.
It's like not a lot. I think I used it a couple of
More than me.
times.
So
Yeah, I
congratulations.
used it. I honestly, I don't even remember trading on it. I used it so little, but I must have
Hmm.
traded on it early. I do remember seeing Jez mention it very, very,
Yeah.
very early. He was like the first
Yeah.
person that I saw mention it. So I think I tried it on then. That's probably why I have a lot of points because it was so
Hmm.
early. But what was I going to say about Lighter? The mistake that I made with Lighter is that I didn't look into the team enough to
Hmm.
understand that they were actually a good team. And like, I think that that's the kind of like core differentiating factor when it comes to choosing between these perp dexes. I do feel pretty bullish on Lighter. I mean, everything depends on price,
Hmm.
obviously. But as far as the user experience goes, the tech goes, everything seems pretty good to me.
Hmm.
Um, I do find the zero fee model to be particularly interesting when it
Hmm.
comes to retail traders. because like we've seen that work in stocks. I wouldn't say I have an incredibly high conviction opinion on it, because
Mm-hmm.
I've read Stable Quant write about why this zero fee model like doesn't really work in crypto,
Mm-hmm.
and it's more of a stocks thing. But yeah, I think that anyone with points is gonna be very happy. And I think that I'm unsure whether or not Lighter will continue to have volumes higher than Hyperliquid. Like I
Mm-hmm.
could see it because it's zero fee. In that case, I think the metric that makes more sense to look at is open interest rather than
Mm-hmm.
volume necessarily, which obviously Hyperliquid still dominates on. But I think, broadly speaking, I think that the market for perps is so massive that they can both win, and both are
Yeah.
capable teams. So I think they will both win.
Mm-hmm. So are
But
you
yeah,
going
I
to
don't really.
repeat your Hyperliquid trade of like buying
What
more
am
of the
I
token after TG, or?
potentially? I've thought about it. I haven't done a I haven't done a proper valuation on it, so I'm not sure at what point I'd be happy buying.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think Hype benefited so massively from the fact that it was like the first project that was making a shit ton in cash flow and then just plowed it all back into the token.
Yeah.
And so now from this point onwards, every project is just compared to that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure, like with Lighter, I know that they're also venture funded. So there's a lot of locked VC bags, which will inevitably
Mm-hmm.
come
Yeah,
onto the
true.
market. So it's not quite the same trade. Um, yeah, I think I'll have to wait and see. I'm not 100% sure.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Yeah. I also I'm a bit more of a fan of Lighter nowadays. I've like very a lot of trouble with trading stuff outside of the terminal because I'm now so used to it, and I don't really like the user experience if I like leave it. But Lighter is decent, especially with the zero fee model and anything like that. I don't have enough points either. Obviously, I didn't farm enough, but I just feel like the valuation is already quite high. I'm wondering where it will end up. It's definitely an
I want to,
interesting thing.
yeah, I want to, well, I'm not sure about the lights valuation, but with we saw so much talk about Hyperliquid high valuations.
Hmm.
But I want to push back on that because if you think about it from a like if you're trying to allocate into the space and you're trying to construct a long short book or whatever it is, if you're just trying to think about what you even own,
Yeah.
like beyond beyond Bitcoin, if you're looking at alts, that I don't think there's a better alt than Hype. If you look at pure fundamentals, and then price wise or valuation wise, obviously now it's much larger than what it was when it launched, and that's true. But
Hmm.
I don't know, when it comes to spot bags, I especially the longer it kind of exists and the like coins just get traded hands and the cost basis rises,
Hmm.
at that point it's I think less about valuation and it's more about like, one, are you in a risk on environment, and then if you are, what do you want to own?
Hmm.
And I feel like Hype pretty much always has to be one of the long picks on the book,
Yeah.
um, just because there's so few assets within crypto that actually do fit that like criteria. That,
Hmm.
in my mind, it makes sense for something like Hyperliquid to have a valuation premium, just based on the fact that it's probably like the pristine asset. But even
Yeah.
then, I don't really think it's that expensive. I think the market for perps is so huge that we'll look back in a couple of years and probably have a 3-digit hype.
Hmm.
but who knows? Maybe I'm the top. We'll see.
So you're saying I don't have enough Hyperliquid?
This time is different. This time is different. Nah, I
I'm sure
mean,
many people will appreciate the Hyperliquid chilling on this podcast.
yeah.
But,
I mean, I've traded Hyperliquid back and forth, and
mhm,
right now I don't own as much as I've like ever owned. I have held more of it in the past,
mhm,
but that's less a factor of being bearish on Hyperliquid specifically, and more a factor of just wanting to take risk off the table because I didn't like how Bitcoin looked. And
mhm.
so, like, one lesson I learned is that I don't think any alt is really immune from, like, if Bitcoin shits the bed and we go into a
No,
Bitcoin bear
absolutely not.
market, no alts
Yeah.
escape that. It doesn't matter how special it is. And like, I'm not sure if we said it on the call or just speaking earlier, exchanges are typically like better in that scenario because they
Mhm,
have, even though their revenues are cyclical, they still do have actually real revenues. There is some fundamentals to the project, whereas most
mhm.
stuff in crypto is so highly narrative and momentum based. But even then, if you are in that bear market, you don't want to hold alts, you just want stables or shorts.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, yeah,
The centralized exchanges are also way more able to like hide their flaws and their losses, which something like Hyperliquid
what do you mean?
couldn't really do. I mean, if there is, I mean, obviously, for example, with Bybit, if they get hacked and it's like on chain or whatever, then there is proof for it. There's like people see it, but for all the auto deleveraging stuff or like people blowing up, like it's the way that Binance works isn't like Hyperliquid, where they have a vault that publicly takes over the positions of people that have been liquidated. They do it like
Right.
internally, and they also like sometimes lose money during those events, and you just don't really like hear about that, or they if people come in and try to abuse the exchange as they did in the jelly jelly situation or stuff like that, then you don't really hear about that because they deal with that differently internally because there's no outside supervision or transparency in that regard.
Yeah. Yeah. I think like there are obviously trade offs that you have to make with a perp dex, but I think that I generally think that they're a superior experience to centralized exchanges. And
Hmm.
I would say most of that is a regulatory arb. Like it's the fact that you don't have to KYC is pretty massive. Not
Hmm.
even from a like tax perspective. It's more so like if you have a Coinbase account or a Kraken account or whatever it is, maybe it's just me, but every single year they ask for a new like proof of funds, proof of
Hmm.
wealth, proof of income, all of this shit that I don't want to bother having to deal with.
Yeah.
I know I'm not doing anything dodgy, but to just have my account frozen every single year and have to sort this out every single year, it's such a pain in the ass.
Hmm.
So perp dexes are a superior experience from that point of view. I don't think I have a good read on the future in terms of like where regulations are heading with
Hmm.
respect to that. Um, like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like because it's such a massive market, you're obviously going to get a lot of players competing in it, like Robin Hood, and um, we'll get TradFi in
More
there as well.
traditional. Yeah.
So I don't know if if perps just become legal in the US, then is that bullish hyperliquid or is it bearish hyperliquid? What do you
Hmm.
think?
I think it's probably bullish. I would say. I've thought about this as well. I've asked some American people because mm, you know, as non-Americans, we don't really have a read on how much easier it would be as an American to use exchanges legally or like have legally offered leverage and perps. because I don't know what like the struggle of them is currently like, or would be like, with taxes and just the whole KYC stuff and whatever. Like, would you, if you're currently using Hyperliquid as an American through VPNs or whatever, then would you switch over to the legal Coinbase version if it was, I don't know, I think it already exists, but it's like not that great or whatever, or it's like a
Yeah,
bit different than it's supposed to be. But if, like, how easy would it be? Like, because on Hyperliquid you just make your account, it's on chain, it's easy to do, and then on the Coinbase it might just be like a whole process of you going into it and having to KYC and provide all these documents and then tax returns and all of that stuff. But I've also heard some people saying that it's actually a lot easier because the tax returns and stuff are a lot harder to do if you trade on Hyperliquid, for example.
right. Yeah,
But I think it's just bullish for perps as a whole, like
yeah,
as a thing. So it's also bullish for Hyperliquid.
yeah, yeah. I agree
Is my
with you.
opinion.
I wanted to hear what you had to say. I think that perps becoming legal and just the normalization of perps in society is such a massive like step change. It's
Yeah,
so massively bullish for the entire sector that um, even if it means greater competition for Hyperliquid, I think the pie grows large enough that they can still capture more than what they're capturing right now. So
yeah.
yeah, I think it's bullish.
I'm really looking forward to. I mean, it's obvious that more TradFi players will move into the space and also take more of the perp share and whatever. But I'm really looking forward if you can trade more traditional assets and stocks on chain or on decentralized exchanges or stuff like that. Maybe now
Mm,
through HIP3 that will be more of a thing, because so far the options aren't very great or liquid or anything like that. Because what you said reminded me, I tried to make an interactive brokers account, I think, and it's just like they're asking for uh, birth certificate of my mother or stuff like that, basically. Like
yeah,
it's just so many things that you have to provide, so many things that I don't even know how to like tell them, because they're asking for what kind of job I'm doing, what kind of income statements I have, and that's all just like such a hassle and very annoying to do. And then you also need to do like an IQ test, kind of, or not like an IQ test, but like the that you to prove that
yeah.
you
You
understand the
struggle with
options
those.
products and stuff like that. It's just such an annoying like long process, and then they just keep asking for stuff, and I'm like, I just want to like load up some stable coins onto some exchange or whatever and trade as the same way that I do anything else, because stocks are doing a lot better than crypto, or at least comparatively. And I'm very glad, for example, that we can trade Pux G or whatever it's called on Hyperliquid to
Yeah,
imitate gold. Um, because a lot of the returns have come more from that side, from the traditional side, except from crypto, other than from crypto. And I'm just hoping that the experiences in that the experience in that regard improves, because it's very annoying
yeah,
and shitty right now.
yeah. I think it's the natural evolution of things for just to be able to trade everything on chain.
Yeah.
I don't really know how much I'll trade stocks on chain because I don't really trade stocks. Like all I do is just max out my tax-free account that we
Hmm.
get in the UK, and then I just buy the S&P because I trade crypto, I feel like I realized the difference between someone who understands crypto trading it versus someone that doesn't
Hmm.
understand crypto trading it. And so I don't have any reason to believe that that's not me when it comes to stocks. Like,
Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah,
It's a very different market, I feel like. Or I've never really personally tried it because I'm not. The barriers of entry are too high, but I can definitely see that it's like a very different just structure of the market, of how it works and why stuff moves the way it does, than we do have in crypto, which we're a lot more aware of because we are in crypto for so long and have experienced it for a long while.
hmm,
I think another good topic to talk about is something which we have talked about earlier without recording, But I think it would be nice of you to explain your thesis and reasoning a bit on public sales, as we've talked about a bit, I think, on here as well. But MegaETH is like doing their public sale very soon,
Yeah,
and there have also been others like Pump Fun and what
plasma.
others have there been actually? Plasma, yeah, right.
Yeah,
And it's becoming more of a thing that people are doing, and I think you have some quite interesting thoughts on the whole endeavor.
sure.
If you'd like to share them with us.
So I think that because we've got regulatory clarity in the US, like people are more willing to kind of experiment and push the boat. And
Hmm.
what that is resulting in is teams feeling comfortable doing ICOs, just doing public sales. So previously, we did airdrops to try to distribute supply in a
Hmm.
like decentralized way, whatever. I think now public sales are at least the last three, but I think public sales in general are pretty much like the next evolution of airdrops,
Hmm.
whereby projects just price themselves too low in order to not guarantee, but effectively give a very high likelihood that whoever buys it will make money. And it's like, at the end of the day, you're still giving your users free money.
Hmm.
This time around, they have to buy into it, but it's a similar dynamic with stock IPOs where they underprice it to give a good first day, like psychologically, whatever.
Yeah.
But in crypto, I see them as the next evolution of airdrops. And yeah, generally speaking, the issue that most liquid tokens in crypto face is that Kobe had an article about this, so I'm not
Hmm.
saying anything new. But like the majority of price discovery has been confined to the private rounds. And then by the time
Hmm.
that it goes public and it actually launches, it's already multi-billion-dollar FDV or like multi-hundred million FDV, whatever.
Hmm.
And at that point, like the trade has happened really. I mean, like it doesn't even have to necessarily make it a short. It could just be efficiently priced. But the difference is that efficient price discovery has happened in private markets, and then it's just like tokens launched, it's live. Yeah, but
Yeah.
like if you're trading, do you ever
Most
want
of
to
the
pay a
upside
fair
is already
price for
gone.
something? Yeah,
Yeah.
the upside's gone. Like, what's the point? People are in crypto because it gave an opportunity for you to buy into projects at venture style valuations, but yet be completely liquid, right? And now you do see private sales. A lot of them are overvalued still,
Hmm.
but you do see some private sales where the valuations are attractive. But I think most of retail should just like avoid. I mean, it's true for anyone, but avoid most private sales.
Hmm.
But I think public sales, maybe this will develop over time. I think most of them are worth participating in because they just
Hmm.
price them too low. They want you to win because they want to be kind of evangelized in your eyes. Previously, they
Yeah.
did that through an airdrop. Now they're just doing it through public sales.
Yeah, that's an interesting point because I also asked in our conversation earlier if they might be like if the gap might close on that trade. But
Right.
if you view it from the project's perspective as like an ecosystem incentivization where they provide you with early funds to play around, to make you rich, to be a member of their community, then it's actually like worth for them to give you some of their token at an advantageous price for you.
Right. Yeah, I think the equilibrium comes from um, the equilibrium would come from projects coming in and overpricing themselves, But the like MegaETH, for example, that that public sale price is not a function of equilibrium. Like it's just arbitrarily set by them, so that's not gonna equilibrate.
Yeah.
So the question is whether kind of less good projects, um, they probably start doing public sales,
Mhm.
and then like you might start off being able to buy these less good projects at good valuations, but then
Mhm.
as people start to understand the meta, then it becomes extractive and projects start pricing themselves higher and higher, at which point it just becomes a cash out. It's less
Yeah.
about giving the community an opportunity to make money, it's just giving themselves an exit.
Yeah.
um, so yeah.
That seems like a very real risk and something very crypto-like for it to eventually happen.
Yeah, but I mean, every single, like, I mean, the most recent three high profile ones, Plasma was slightly different because it was like a LP deal essentially, but
Mhm.
Plasma, Pump, and MegaETH were all slam buys, like all in slam buys. Even Pump, which went below the public sale price after it launched, you had like multiple hours after it launched to just get out straight away for an instant 50%. And if you
Mhm.
think about the fact that you can slam as much size into these things as you want, like at, at what other point in the market do you have the opportunity to practically all in something and capture 50% in a day? Like,
Yeah.
to get that, people are doing meme coins, but these are just completely different assets to go from a meme coin to mega ETH, but you can still achieve the same return profile in such a
Yeah.
short period of time.
With a very different risk.
Right. The trade changes once the token's actually live, because at that point
Mhm.
the kind of like the inefficiencies then closed, and you then
Yeah.
have another L2. I'm bullish on Mega ETH as a kind of like project. I'm
Mhm.
not sure too much yet about the token itself. It depends how much value accrual they can actually give to it.
Yeah.
Um,
Tokenomics, I guess.
but once the token's actually live and it's trading at 4 billion, 5 billion, how much further does that thing then have to go versus
Mhm.
buying it at 1 in the public sale and flipping it for a 4x in 12
Yeah.
hours or whatever it is?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It is a good trade. You have convinced me. I'm gonna participate in the public sale. Do you have
The
any?
Echo, sorry, I was
Go
just
ahead.
going to say the Echo private sales are also like good potentially.
Mhm.
Most of them, obviously, you don't want to invest in. That's true for venture investing in general. But every so often, you get free money deals. Like everyone listening to this podcast should be on Echo, even if you ignore 49 out of 50 deals, it doesn't
Mhm.
matter, because the 1 in 50 free money deal, for example, Mega ETH, right? It launched at 220 mil. Now, you can't put that much size into it. The max cap
Mhm.
was 3.7K. But if it's launching at 4.5 billion and you're getting a 20x on that, and I mean, it was like blatantly obvious that this was free money,
Mhm.
you don't get opportunities to do that in liquid markets. So everyone listening to this should be on Echo, and like just have your eyes open for free money deals.
But I
And
guess
if
you
you're
still
not
need to
sure,
convince someone to like invite you to their group, no, to get like the
well,
better ones.
most groups are actually just public. So
Mhm.
yes, there are some private groups, but most groups are just public. And if you request to join, they'll accept you. Like they have thousands of
I
members in
see.
them. From a
Yeah.
group lead perspective, if you think about their incentives, they actually, as long as you're not a complete idiot and you're not harassing the team, they don't care who in that group
True, yeah.
invests. They're just they just care about the carry that they're getting on the deal. And then depending on the group, some of them charge higher than others. Some of them like charge no carry at all. They're just doing it out of the goodness of their heart.
I think some people from the plasma sale, didn't they make like
Yeah.
like seven
Plasma
figures or
was
something out of a
massive.
couple thousands? Yeah, that was like a
Yeah.
huge thing. But now you have to like give your KYC data to Coinbase to participate. So that's like one of the
Yeah.
downsides that are
Not great.
potentially
It's not great, but
there.
I think you should be willing to do it if, you know, if you have the potential to make outsized returns.
Yeah.
But yeah, Plasma was a
it
massive,
depends on you.
massive
Yeah.
one.
Do you have anything else that you would like to talk about as we're coming to a close? I think we covered a decent range of topics so far. Or anything that you'd like to shill or plug?
I have nothing to
check
show.
out.
I have nothing to plug. What would I talk about? What would I draw
Any words of
people's
wisdom
attention to?
that you
Words of wisdom
want people
from a
to
24-year-old.
I mean, you've been in the market for 6 years. You can find some market wisdom.
I'll tell you what. I'll give advice to traders. Okay. My advice would be, I mean, if you're listening to this podcast, you're probably actually a serious trader. So my advice will be different to you than someone that got captured in the pump fund trenches recently. The way that I look at markets is always from a position of, do I want to hold risk right now or do I not want to hold risk right now? And then if I do, what's the strongest coin? Like, try not to constrict yourself to past. Like, if you have a bag from like 2 years ago because you joined the community, please dump that shit. Please dump it. Never look back.
Yeah.
And the final thing I would say is be open to adapting your style of trading as well. This is pointed at you, Sokyo, because we were talking earlier. We were talking about the MegaETH public sale, and he said that like he wasn't going to participate because like he's a scalper and he doesn't want to lock his money up for 2 weeks. 2 weeks. These motherfuckers can't hold a trade for 2 weeks.
It's free. It's free, actually. Well, we don't know. It's not announced yet. It's like a month.
Whatever. Anyway,
yeah.
my point being, always just think about every trade in terms of how much you can make in what period of time. And like, even if you're a scalper, it can still make sense to do an echo deal if you're getting into MegaETH, right? Or the public sale if you're getting into MegaETH.
Do you want to be right or do you want to make money?
Yeah. And also recognize that like the market, the way that the markets trade now is a lot different to 2 years ago. And like one example being, anytime we would break all-time highs in Bitcoin, you could just like instantly shove and you'd pretty much always get follow through and momentum. Now we've seen multiple cases where that's not the case. Like it will take the highs and then, you know, trap longs and send it the other way. It doesn't give a fuck anymore. It's too big for that type of momentum to occur unless you have one of those massive macro events like a Trump presidency or something like that. Yeah. So yeah, try to have a pulse on how the market is trading. That might be the most like generic advice in the world. But adapt your style of trading to how the market's actually playing out
Mhm.
rather than how you want the market to play out.
I mean, everyone can choose if they listen to you or not, but I think adapting is a good piece of advice, and then buying strong stuff, dumping your
Hmm.
old bags is all good stuff that many can relate to and learn from.
Hmm.
Yeah, so thank you very much for coming on here, being my guest, and bearing with us through the technical difficulties that we had to
It's all
fight
good.
until we could properly record. But it was a very good talk, and I'm glad you came on. And yeah,
Me too.
appreciate you being here. All right, that's it for today. Goodbye, everyone.